Hi all, I have a fascinating game to show you in a chess nutshell, but I also want to introduce the players involved. Howard Staunton we kind of know already, but a less well known player perhaps is his opponent who is playing black. Baron von der Lasa is the short way of saying his name. The long way is Baron Tassilo von Heidebrand, and it carries on under Lasa. Okay, short. Okay, the short form, as I mentioned, Baron von der Lasa. So, who was he? He was actually an important German chess master, chess historian, and theoretician of the 19th century. He's like the John Nunn of the 19th century, a German John Nunn, a member of the Berlin Chess Club and a founder of the Berlin Chess School. His name is usually abbreviated as von der Lasa. Basically, he studied actually law in Bonn and Berlin. From 1845, he was a diplomat in the service of Prussia. Not Russia, Prussia. His career took him to Stockholm, Copenhagen and Rio de Janeiro, among other places. He retired from the diplomatic service in 1864 and thereafter devoted himself to the world of chess. He played apparently several matches and defeated the strongest chess masters in the period 1843 to 53. This game is 1853. He won against Henry Thomas Buckle 2-1, Adolf Andersen 4-2, Lowenthal 6-1, Schulten 4-1, Anderson 10-5 in 1851, and Howard Staunton he actually overall 7-6. So to the modern chess world, he is known as the main author of Handbuch der Schachspiels, first published in 1843. His friend Paul Rudolf von Bulger, responsible for the original plan, had died in 1840 and the work was still in the early stages. Von der Lasa took it over in a noble gesture of friendship, but his friend's name as author in later editions of the handbook in German, commonly called Der Bilger. Von der Lasa is named as a co-author. So this is a really important guy actually in chess evolution and the impact on chess generally. He even called for an international chess tournament in 1850, but the tournament was actually held in London in 1851. Okay, so a really important guy. Very, very interesting to read about him. Let's see how good he was. E4. Staunton played E4. We see E5. Knight F3, Knight C6. Bishop B5. Berlin, very popular nowadays. Queen E2, sidestepping some of the main lines. Bishop D6. C3, both sides castle, rook E8. Yeah, this could be in a modern world championship game because Berlin's on the rage. It could be a sideline to avoid the main Berlin stuff, which is pretty drawish. I know this looks awkward, the bishop here, but okay. D3, H6. We have knight H4, and in fact, Staunton's plan looks a bit like Sergei Karyakin against Magnus Carlsen in one of the games we saw recently in one of the World Championship games, because White now is putting pressure on the king side, in particular now after Queen F3, putting pressure on F6. There's a tactical idea which we see now. Black maybe should have played more. The most accurate might be Bishop C5, but Black played Bishop C7. Perhaps aware he is allowing this. Basically, he's allowing this tactic, bishop takes h6, which seemed to chip away a pawn if Black just took. But maybe Black just welcomed this. D5. And this is the kind of thing that happened, in one of the Karyakin-Carlsen games, which I think is very interesting, the historical pattern here. Bishop G4. Black is actually getting quite a bit of compensation after takes. White regains the piece because look, there's a semi-open G-file here. There's a lot of pressure here for the pawn. We see now Howard Staunton perhaps being put on in a passive place after knight takes G4. Queen takes F7 check. When I say passive place, sorry, I've recently seen a horror film called Get Out, and they say a sunken place. Is he being put in a passive position? Howard Staunton here in a horrific manner. Well, after rook G7, this rook is pointing to his king. He does seem to have slightly awkward knight on H4, but it's not completely dead yet. It seems, queen d7, but black is able to potentially quickly double rooks, shielded by this pawn. So it looks at all the coordination and dangers are facing white here. White has the extra material, black has the threats, basically. Now, perhaps instead of queen d7, and it looks logical to kind of guard this and bring the rooks together like this, perhaps this was more accurate. Knight g6, for example. Knight f5, knight h4. This continuation is very nice for black here. But we have queen d7 instead. Queen e2. That's very passive, it seems. Rook f8. Knight d2. And now knight g6 here. And it's just ever so dangerous. White took on g6. Knight f5. You'd think it would be asking for a knockout blow. We can check this. I believe it's just really asking for a knockout blow. Yeah, just knight f4. And here, this just looks horrible. Let's have a look. If here, we just win that knight on d2. So yeah, this f5 knight is actually loose here, because we got some pins in the position. That's pretty devastating. If here it looks... Yeah, rook takes f5. This one, this way, black would be threatening things like knight h3 check. It's not worth considering with that g file. So it looks like a very passive position. This was taken. That's probably the best move in the circumstance. Knight d f3, knight f4 again. It looks like killing position, absolutely killing. If we get this sort of position, you don't expect the white king, well, winning the queen anyway. You don't expect, white to survive. So knight takes g6, rook takes, knight f3, rook g f6. That's given support. But now a really, really nifty combination is played. Can you guess the first move? If I give you 5 seconds starting from now. Okay, it's doubling the pawns. But, and this is the point which makes this game really quite amazing, as well as it's nice to talk about important historical figures and show at least one of their fantastic games. But this is a super fantastic, super strong move in this position that's played. It's the most clinical move. I wonder if you can get it if I give you 5 seconds starting from now. So this guy is like a German John Nunn, because John Nunn's pretty tactical as well as being a major theoretician. So he plays knight h2. There's really no defense here. This really shuts down white's defensive resources. The king takes this. I mean, what else? If we play f4, queen h3 is going to be killing. For example, here. Then we've got the check and mate. That's absolutely killing. So we have the king taking, but now can you see the point here? Okay, 5 seconds. Although black's a rook down, rook f4 is sealing the king's fate. These double pawns really don't help defensive resources here. White tries rook g1, check, and Howard Staunton is embarrassingly mated. So this guy's pretty tactical, pretty strong, and very, very theoretical. Very big influence, actually, on the game. Should really have been in the Evolution of Style series. So this is like a second pass through, actually, with these historical figures. So von der Lasa, yeah, he's an important guy for like chess theory. And you can play a mean game of chess as well, even against the best at the time, like Staunton. Hope you enjoyed this one. Comments, questions, likes appreciated. Thanks very much.